Oh my gosh, sorry. Let me move the phone number. Um, because there's a possibility that we may actually take calls, so I do have that set up for us. Um, but what I wanted to start out by doing was going something along the lines of um, turning the candles on for every one of you guys with the flick of the um oh, I disappeared. Wait, that was a magic trick. Hold on. Hang on. Move me back up. Hi. I'm really organized. Can you guys tell? Let's try lighting these candles one more time. 1, 2, 3. Yes! What a way to start a stream. You know? It's got to always be something. But at least it made for it to start out funny, with a little spice of humor. But today I want to talk about, some ancient knowledge that's being revealed, and how it changes everything, and how much from just studying and doing some research, the truth comes out, and how liberating and how freeing that it is within us. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Doesn't it show anything in the live chat? Let me see. Am I live? Am I live? Okay, it's showing it on the... Okay. Look, there's a mouse in the house. Okay, I see you guys chatting over there, but on my black screen, it's not showing anything. No activity. That's weird. What is that? What do I have to do? Like, update it? Will it knock it off? I hope it doesn't knock it off. I'm going to try and update it so it can show on the live side. Please don't knock us offline. Please don't knock us offline. In the meantime, what I did was I did turn the phones on, because the things that we're going to talk about, not only are we having a conversation with each other, but you may have something that you may want to call in and add to this. Add to this understanding that we're all coming to. And also, some very interesting information was brought up to me about equality, and equality in a governing form, as in like socialism, and how that, man-made governments turning into an equality-based socialist type situation takes away the motivation, the drive, the driving force in the 3D, and not only just the 3D, everything. We know we're spiritual beings having a physical experience. But if no matter what it is that you do, everything is balanced and in equality, and there is, so then how can you do random acts of kindness for others? How will, if you're on a fixed base income just like somebody else and they run out of gas, how are you going to be in a position to do a random act of kindness, not wanting anything in return, and get gas for somebody who is in need? So we're going to get into things of that nature also. Let me take a sip here. So, obviously, I'm still up and live with you guys. Okay, and the chat showed up over here on my, my black screen. But I can't see I can't read what you guys are writing in the black screen. So I come over to the white one so I can see who's all here. Hello, my love, Sharon Bailey, otherwise known as Biker Babe. She's a doll, and I have to say, I met her in person, and wow, talk about somebody who's in tune, thinks for herself, has her own perspectives, stands strong in them, and her own convictions, her own opinions. And if her and I don't see eye to eye in perspectives, she'll let it be known. And you know what? It does not harm our friendship. You know why? Because I accept her unconditionally and she accepts me unconditionally. Those are the kind of people, you guys, we don't want to be cookie cutouts of one another. We don't want to be in a group of like minded, everything in agreement all the time with whatever is said or given to us. We don't want to be colorful. We want to be individuals. We want to be unique. And there's a way of having a disagreement or not being seeing from the same perspective in a respectful way with one another, letting it be okay that we don't think alike. We don't have to tear each other down or try to force our way or our will or subjugate somebody else. So when you're looking, just this is before we get into the deep stuff. This is actually, some may, get a lot of information from learning how to pick our friends. A friend is someone who accepts you unconditionally. Now, I'm not saying to take up and be friends with people that try to force you into doing things that are not in your nature or anything of that matter. I'm talking about a mutual respect for one another. That she can have her thoughts and her perspectives, and I will listen, and I enjoy listening to them. She's very deep, and she's very strong. And she also will listen to mine. And no matter what is going on with my life or hers, we'll stop everything and listen to one another and be there for each other through the thick and thin of it. Not to be cookie cutouts, not to think we have to believe the same or think the same, but to accept each other for our uniqueness. And I have to say, when you find people like that, and they are out there, you guys, they are out there, that is a true friend indeed. You can't get anything better. Are you guys able to hear me and everything okay? And then we got preliminary Mickey Mouse operation. I just love your name. We got the really woke Richie. And you guys, he is a conscious creator. Sometimes we have doubts. Sometimes we let we look around in the world and we allow that to be our narrator. And then we click back and we reverse those roles and realize, wait a minute. And we all fall. We all fall. This happens. And as soon as he did, he went from dire straits to food in his cabinet. And not only just working a couple nights a week, his first weekend back, it was only supposed to be 2 gigs and they wanted to pay him less. Well, guess what? He worked Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night. What a good launch back into his beautiful talent of entertaining people with his music. He's a great singer, and he does share those. When he does a gig, he puts them up live for us to sit there and chair dance and enjoy his singing and all of the songs. And so, we all have those moments, those slip-ups. As soon as he was like, wait. I mean, he was walled in. He had bricked himself up really, really firm around. He was really upset. It happens to us all. But then we purge that. We repurpose. And the bounty is transparent that's going on within his life. He knows who he is. Um, we've got the conscious evolution. Awesome. Um, Rick Swain. I don't want to miss anybody. Last time I missed Disintegral, and I don't like to miss anybody in the chat. I just don't, because you guys are all unique, you're all precious, and we all learn from one another. Ooh, we've got Dead GPK. You know, I love my Skywatchers. Um, and did I get everybody? Michael Fontaine, how are you today, sir? I think when you sent me that message, you might have been confused. I did use, it's a similar thumbnail. I went on twice in one day. I know you weren't present for the morning live stream, but when it was just, before we went live, I saw your comment because it was just me and you in there. So I know you were there. I don't know if you had to click out and go somewhere or didn't get to catch the entire show. But I did see you at the second one, so maybe you might want to check out the live stream. It was it was actually much shorter because the one that you did, that you were there for, was the call-in share show, and those last a little longer. But the one earlier was the information about, you know, this matrix and this paradigm and things of that nature. So that one was done on the same day. So that, I think it might have just been a confusion because the similarities in the thumbnail, plus it being the same day, because the time that you had mentioned matched up with the earlier show, not the later in the evening one. So okay, hello everybody. Now I want to talk about some ancient knowledge that's revealed and how it can change everything. If you have been watching the mind exercises, I try to speak in a monotone in a lot of them, especially depending on the subject matter in which we're trying to break out of the paradigm. And I also will speak in a pattern that we're not used to. People are used to hearing things fast. We absorb things fast. It's a now moment. So a part of the mind exercise is to be able to slow, to get control over our mind, to be able to break out of patterns or old patterns that have been around, that they're speeding up on us, so we do not think for ourselves, in order to slow us down and break a pattern into you thinking for yourself, coming out from the worldly ways and coming into the oneness that is within you. So there is excellent information in there, especially mind exercise 1 starts us in purgatory. Think about that for a moment. If you look around in the world today on people who are mindlessly following what they are told through television programming or information that's being broadcasted out worldwide, they'll listen and then comply. So I would consider that a purgatorial type of a situation. So are you truly living your life to the fullest potential of everything that you are, if you're mindlessly following whatever propaganda is being broadcasted out? Where's the freedom in that? So that's what mind exercise 1 is, purgatory. I just came from my doctor today and didn't feel much like smiling. Now, he took my weight and I've gained weight. But then he swore, he was like, oh my gosh, you look like you've lost weight. And I'm like, no, I'm going the wrong direction. I'm actually gaining weight. I need to be careful because there's a certain weight that I want to maintain. But we all know that muscle weighs more than fat, okay? So by swimming and exercising, muscle weighs more. But I wasn't smiling. I was not in a smiling mood. I took a tumble a couple weeks ago. I slipped and I was wearing my swim shoes. They're Crocs. So they have that rubber bottom. We have an air conditioner out in our garage, but it would leak water out from underneath of it. So we would set a towel in front to try to catch the water. Well, I came in from outside. My glasses tint down when I'm outside. So when I came inside into the garage, I couldn't see very well. I stepped on that towel, which happened to be soaking wet. So when I took the next step on this rubber shoe that I was wearing, my foot went zoom out from underneath of me. I went, horizontal and went down on my side and cracked my head against the concrete in the garage. Hurt my shoulder, my elbow, my knee, my hip, and of course you guys know I've had a broken neck that I had surgery on, and I've still got the T-spine injury, so it threw my whole back into spasm and neck pain, and because I stepped on that wet surface, and of course in the garage it's kind of got, how your garage isn't like your concrete outside, it's got more of like a slick finish on it. So my foot just slid like I was on black ice or ice, like ice skating without ice skates on, trying to walk and just you're slipping along. My foot just went so fast, and I don't remember actually hitting the ground. I remember being on the ground and excruciating headache. I did end up staying up all night that night because of the bad headache that I had and the neck and everything that was going on, because I wanted to make sure if I was concussed, that I managed things until my husband got home. In the meantime, now the air conditioner is fixed. It no longer leaks. So whatever my husband did, there's no longer a leak there, and I'm okay. So I just, wanted to fill you guys in on why I wasn't so smiley when I was at the doctor. I was, telling him about the reality that is coming into fruition now of losing my daughter. It was okay to live in like this fantasy land that she'd call me. She would always call me whenever she needed something. She was bouncing around and doing her thing. She was an adult after all. To now we're dealing with this in real life, which it's got good and bad. It's going to bring closure, but I can no longer pretend that she's going to call me at any time, or that she's in Florida or any of those things, because we're going into court and the evidence and everything I'm going to see is going to bring this to a reality that is undeniable. But on the good side, maybe my family can start healing in our hearts and learn to live again. Because after all, you guys, one thing that is for sure, we're not guaranteed our next breath. I know this for a fact, since she was 27. She's going to be forever 27. She was perfectly fine. She was, 7 hours away from getting on the plane and restarting a new life in Florida. And she was taken. She was taken in a moment. There wasn't a sickness. There wasn't any kind of lead up. There wasn't any suffering going on. She was animated, bubbly, excited, bringing her things over here to store, and bam, she was taken. She was taken from us. Now, mind you, I've told you, I had dreams about this in 2012, which about made me lose my mind, because, you know how we are. We're all dream workers. Whether we're aware of it or not, we are all dream workers. We are always going off and taking care of business while we're asleep. And even if you are a Christian, it's in the scripture. God sews up the instructions within us as we sleep. Some of us become lucid and become aware of the dreams that we have. Some of them will come as a prophetic warning. Some of them meaning that you can actually change it. How I can discern that is, am I an actor in it? Am I playing a part in what I am seeing? How I know I cannot is I'm translucent. I see things from a different perspective, from an observer point of view. And when I look down to myself, I'm translucent, meaning I'm not present. So there's nothing that I can do or try to do to change the outcome. So that's a hard pill to swallow. And I have to say, I wanted so badly to be wrong. I wanted, we started talking about this stuff in the year, it was like the end of year 2000 to beginning of the year 2001 when the dreams became lucid. I started going outside of my body and all this stuff was going on, and the doctor said, oh, take this pill, you've got night terrors. I didn't have night terrors. I was becoming lucid in my dreams. I was getting the awareness. So, and each of us has different levels or different talents that enhance the experience for each of us. But when it comes to dream working, none of us are left out of that. None. So whether you become lucid in them, or you astral project, whatever the forte is, or you don't remember them at all, you are still a dream worker. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. Okay, let me get a drink here. That's cool, Dad. I know you're always lurking. And yeah, Sharon, did you just now come back? I was, I was talking about you. I used you as an example for friendship. So if you want to hear that, it's at the very, very beginning of a friendship that is unconditional, where somebody accepts us for who we are, and without wanting us to have to see things their way 100% of the time. Many of you know, if you've been keeping up with the sacred secrets or the forbidden knowledge posts that have been being dropped, that for some reason, and this has come up in Dreamtime too, that I have been diving deep into Egypt. We call it Egyptian mythology when we talk about like Isis and Osiris, and he's the father. That's the father and mother of Horus. And then when we talk about Horus, losing his eye, but his eye was his talent, and finding out that that eye actually is, if you cut a brain in half, it is right in the center. We've got our pineal gland, which is likened to a pine cone, that in the heat, because remember, it's like a fiery child. In the heat, that pineal gland opens like a pine cone would. But we often forget about the pineal gland. And if you look at the artifacts or any of the carvings in the walls from the Egyptian, way back when, the Eye of Horus or the Eye of Ra, it could be called either one. I've heard it called both. If you look at how the eye is depicted, and you look at the stem that goes below, and then the little loop-de-loop, and you line it up within our brain where our hypothalamus is also another gland that's involved, and then you got your thymus, and then you've got an area around it that circulates oil, but we call it when they do like a spinal tap, they call it spinal fluid, but it's an oil that is produced, and it goes down our nervous system, down our back, and then back up. So that was something that was given to me in Dreamtime. These things are not things that I would think about on a normal day-to-day basis. So I'm the type that I have an experience or I'm shown something, and then I will look into it to find out what's the riddle, or what, is this a riddle, or are you actually showing me something? Is this actually something that really happens within the human body? But a lot of times we forget about the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is very important. We talk about balance, and also 0 point. 0 point is at our heart, the magnetic field. And the 0 point would be the throne of our heart. Back in ancient mythology, I think it's Anubis that would, when you're going through into the afterlife, that he takes your heart and weighs it up against a feather. And if your heart weighs more than the feather, you don't get to go into what they would call paradise. Well, we know better than that, okay? Some things are mythology, okay? And some things hold water and have very pertinent information. But I have to say, when you have the eye of Horus, or your third eye, opened, even Christ talked about this. He said, if you got two eyes and you're double-minded, he said, pluck out and let thy eye be single, and then enter the kingdom of heaven with one eye. He said it's better to enter with one eye than to not enter at all. So these things are put out in every culture, as I brought up, in different ways for us to be able to understand, and to be able to glean and grow from it. It is there no matter where you live, what culture, because that was one of the first things that I think we've talked about. If you look at some of my older videos with this awakening, number one, I was never taught about this in church. I was not prepared for what was going on. And number two, I never felt that, oh my goodness, I'm so lucky that I'm born in the right place on this realm that happens to worship the correct God. Because, how haughty of me would that be? Where's the humility in that? Where's the random acts of kindness? Where's the unconditional love? Where's the love thy enemy? These are things that Christ himself talked about. Now let's get more into the secret gnosis. Now, like I said, I've been dropping them, and with the mind exercises, there's secret gnosis in those too. But when I saw that, what I saw was, I saw the third eye, okay, in our mind, and then I saw in my dream time, lucid, I saw this oil stuff that shot down our back, and it went all the way to our root chakra, some would call it, or the base of our spine. And then I watched it shoot up, and then it would stop. And I'm like, what's the pause about? What is that pause about? And then it moved again, and then all I saw was bright light. I saw bright light coming out of whatever, it was shown to me in a way that it was not me. I was being shown it on another individual, like, here, check this out. Look for yourself. I'm trying to show you something. And that's where I came across the ancient wisdom that is in plain sight in Egypt. And it's also in the Bible. There's other places to be able to get this information. Now let's talk a little bit about the cross-section of gland. Yeah, and the equality. When we talk about the equality and balance, we're talking about the equality of the unconditional love that the Creator or Source or higher self, or even those in the angelic realm, maybe we're calling today aliens, what were of ancient times called angels. These are things we should think about, because I shared the story about when I broke my collarbone. And I was little. I was really super young. And I went to the play area at the apartment complex, and it was daytime. And I was so little that, I wasn't allowed to be gone for that long. I would have to come and check in. And I woke up locked in my mom. My mom had just bought a station wagon. It was white. Actually, we all ended up getting car sick when we first rode in it, because she had a Vega, a yellow Vega, kind of like a station wagon thing, and it would vibrate, right? Well, this one rode so smooth that all of his children got car sick. So when we got, and then this is how new the vehicle was. Well, I was put back inside the back area of the station wagon, and there was coloring books and crayons were spread out, and I woke up back there. I don't know how I got in a locked car. We always kept our cars locked. We lived in Rowland Heights. If anybody's aware of California and of that area, you would understand that no matter, even, when we're talking about 45, or I'm not going to give away my age, but back then you needed to lock your vehicles. In California, we've always locked our front doors and our vehicles the entire time that I have been here. It was in Oklahoma when we realized we didn't have to do that, and you could actually leave your keys in and nobody would touch your stuff, nor would they come tromping into your house. Talk about culture shock. But anyways, back then you didn't leave your cars unlocked. And by God, I know my mom, with a brand new car, would not have left it unlocked. I was put back in there because it was safe. Nothing would have happened to me. Nobody could have got to me. When I woke up, there was police lights and cars everywhere, and it was dark. And I got out of the car and wandered up. They had all searched inside the car. All of them. The police, my parents. That was some of the first places that they looked. And I wasn't there. How did I get there, you guys? Makes you wonder. I later found out in the BQH session when we were practicing on one another that I was picked up in that play area, and I was taken to something that they called a healing bed to expedite the healing of the break. It was a pretty severe break that I did on my collarbone. Mind you, again, I was only 4.5 or 5 years old. I was very young. I must know, let me think. Yeah, okay, kindergarten. I had to have been about 5.5 years old, because at that time we did not have an actual babysitter taking care of us. I had my older brother and older sister that were looking out, and they didn't know what to do. I was screaming, and an adult came out of their house and picked me up and took me home. And then my mom got home, I'm thinking about an hour later, and then took me to the hospital. And yeah, it was broke. My collarbone was popped out. So they had to set it and put me in a brace. It was very painful, very shocking for somebody of such a young age. But how did I get picked up from the playground during, after lunchtime, and end up in a locked car when it was dark, where I would be safe? And not only that, the coloring book was open. Nothing was colored, okay? And the crayons were spread out. And I woke up back there to, like I said, lots of lights. And now think about this, you guys. You've got a broken collarbone. You're young, and you just scared the daylights out of your mother. What's the first thing she's gonna do? She hugged me like there was no tomorrow. And remember, I still had this break, and she hugged me, because she was so scared. Then I got in trouble. I got in trouble after after the relief set in of finding me. But they argued with me. If I had not come out of the car and left it unlocked when I came out, they would not have believed I was there. That's where I was actually. That's where I woke up. So, anyways, interesting things happen to us, and without explanation, we don't quite understand. But when we're young and these things happen, we don't question it. We don't say why. We don't need the science, or we don't need the proof. We are so innocent and so accepting that a lot of times as we grow up, we start to stop believing in the magic of this place, the miracles of this place, the beauty and the majesty and the magnificence and the uniqueness and every gift that you are born with. As we get older, the cares of the world, I need to go to work, I need to pay my bills, I need to do this, I need to take care of my children, all of that seems to swallow up all of the magic of this place to the point we forget. Now, have I dropped that video? I think I did. I might have, about I think that is one of the mind exercises about subliminal hypnosis, flicker rates. They have done many experiments on emotions, emotional reactions, flicker rates, and actually even tuning instruments and putting in a hidden frequency in there, that once the musicians started using this instrument, which by the way was the only one available, everything else was taken away. Either you could do it by ear with the talent, or you use this tuning. And a lot of times, let's say you're a big band and you're on the road, the roadies are the ones who have to tune your instruments while you're preparing to go and do your show. So this frequency comes through, and what they found from their social experiments was it incited anger. It had the divorce rates went up, abuse, fighting, rioting at concerts, which never happened before, started ensuing. So they test these things out, they see what the results are, and then they use it as a tool to divide and conquer. But I have to say, the awareness that we have of any tool, once you are aware of it, it no longer has any effect on you. You can enjoy watching a movie without being put into a hypnotic state of suggestibility. You can remain fully conscious, enjoy the entertainment for what it is, turn that sucker off, and walk away completely whole and intact. It's getting to that 100% awareness of whom you are and the uniqueness, and how, there's only one of you. There's only one of me. And how unique we are is how much we add and to enhance the color and we have unity in diversity, not divide and conquer. It's not dual nature. We're not dueling each other. It's diversity. So when you even look at the sign, the yin and the yang sign, that where it's dark and then it's light, and they merge together and they dance, okay? It's not necessarily saying one is evil and one is good. It's talking about unity and diversity dancing together to bring color to life, not tearing each other apart because we don't agree with each other. No, it's talking about a spiritual that then manifests in the physical dance that we do with one another. Before we get more into the sacred. Uh, there's a hard pill, you guys, that Christianity, or actually even Judaism, may have a hard time swallowing. I'm going to leave that to the end. I'm actually working on a video now on this, and also why Moses had two horns, and why he veiled his face, and certain information like that, because the more truth that we know, the more freedom that we walk in, the more awareness of who we are comes into fruition. So, okay, I was going to talk about something else. Let me get a drink. Okay, with the awareness, so when you realize like Wi-Fi or cell phone or any of these things, the more that you are conscious to who you are. Oh, I know where I was heading. Okay, I'll finish this thought first though. Okay, the consciousness of who you are, you will realize that you'll get to a point where you realize nothing here can hurt you unless you believe it. If you believe it without a shadow of a doubt, it can manifest. That's why so many people are so upset and up in arms about this virus. And what should we do in a case? In all honesty, here's my perspective on what we do when so many people really believe that this virus is something that is actually out there, that is contagious, that can do severe harm to another. I say, I am all about standing our ground, and with the masks and things like that, do not put our health in harm's way. But the only way we can put our health in harm's way is if we believe that wearing the mask is going to cause problems. Because remember what I just said, nothing here can harm us unless we believe that it can harm us. So let's look at it like this. You're the leader of this country. Forget who it is right now. It doesn't even matter. But you're the leader of this country, okay? And you're fully aware of who you are. And you know whether people understand and understand this, you know who they are also. And they think that this is going to do X, Y, and Z. And they think that if they get a vaccine, or if people wear masks, that it's going to keep them healthy and safe. What would you do? What position would you take? And I'm asking you guys right now. I'm going to wait and see what kind of responses I get. What would you do knowing that you know who you are? You know that nothing here can harm you unless you believe it can. And you have possibly 60 or 70% of the population feeling that something like this can actually harm them. What would you do to restore peace and to give them a sense of being healthy and secure? What would you do? I'm going to give you guys a few moments to answer. Because remember, things are only poison if we think they're poison. That's also listed in the Bible, that they will take up poisonous things, but it will not harm them. How can that possibly be? Remember, Paul got bit by that snake, a deadly snake, by the, where was he? When the ship crashed, and then they went ashore, and I think it was like, was it Malta? And the people came down and brought them food and took care of them, and he was lighting the fire and still doing what he could do to help, even though he was a prisoner getting shipped over to Rome. And he got bit by a snake that they in that area truly believed if you were bit by that snake, you didn't live long. But he did not have a problem with it. He lived right through it. He continued to help. So what does that tell you guys? And is nobody wanting to give me an answer on, if you were president, what would you do? Or if you were, it doesn't matter if you're president of this country or any country. If your people think that something can come from something, that it will result, and they don't have doubt in it, what would you do? What would you do in order to bring peace and to keep them living as we're going through? Sorry guys, I know these won't hurt me, but I'm gonna have a stogie. So let's see what we got here. Now she's in this biker babe. Sweetie. Trying to type in the computer and phone at the same time. You're such a doll. I love you, sweetheart, so much. You have no idea. Well, I think you have an idea. And Dead GPK, oh my gosh, he's my man. He's my buddy. Thick and thin. Preliminal, Patrick. I'm going to tell you, I have met some of the most awesome people. Just the most awesome people here. I just really have. So, what would you do? What do you think is the best outcome? And I'm not saying don't stand your ground. I think everybody should stand the ground of conviction. I think everybody has the right to have their voice heard, have their experiences exposed, therefore allowing the truth to resonate out. Do we need to wear a mask? No, we don't. As long as we know that this virus has no merit and no bearing on our lives, we don't need a mask. We don't need to be protected from something that's not there. And I am honored to know many people that are willing to stand in that gap as an example. But I also have to say that as you guys are aware, that things, the dynamics of things have changed now. I can no longer sit here and pretend that my daughter's just out there somewhere and she just hasn't needed anything, because whenever she didn't feel good or she needed something, she would call me. Remember, guys, she was an adult. But that is coming to a sure and fast end for me, as I will be in the courtroom representing her, standing in the gap for her. But the courthouses say I'm going to have to wear a mask, at least at this moment. Maybe that will all end, hopefully, with us mindful meditators that we know how to take energy, convert, and transmute, and get rid of such things. Enough of us focusing on the same thing in not a guided meditation, but in a group meditation. We can do anything. But I prefer not to be wearing a mask. I will be, I'm sure, at times in tears during this ordeal of them showing evidence and images. And even though I'm going to be able to see them beforehand, this is my daughter, you guys. I had one daughter and I had one son. And I'll never plan a wedding. I'll never go with her to pick out her dress. Things that mothers, these monumental, treasured moments that mothers have with their daughters. It's different with sons, but with our daughters, there's, that I will never have that experience. It's been robbed. It's been stolen. And I'm going to be exposed to images, photographs, and the evidence of what happened to her. And it's going to be hard, because it's going to come at me hard and fast. It's reality. I'd never seen an image or a photo of her in the vehicle. But he is going to go over, the DA is going to go over all the evidence with my husband and I prior to the hearing, to the trial. And no matter how we try and slice this, dice this, wearing a mask and shedding tears is not going to work well. Anybody who knows, anybody who's had a loss or have had their heart shredded into pieces, when the waterworks start, it's not a single tear, it's a flood. That mask will be saturated and uncomfortable. It will be too much to have something like that on my face. The most I want on my face is I'm going to be carrying, we have these little packets of tissues, Kleenexes, that we got for the funeral that we handed out there, and I have several of those left over. I'll be carrying those with me, and that's what will be touching my face. I don't want something over my nose and my mouth, because it's right there. I mean, it's just going to go right into that cloth mask, and no. So you guys, please, any energetic help, any group meditation to let's put this behind us and get rid of all of this nonsense and bring peace to the hearts of people who truly believe that this virus can do such harm to them, because it is through our faith. As a man believeth, so shall it be unto him. There's gnosis in the scriptures. There's gnosis in the hieroglyphs. There's gnosis in no matter what area that we look in this realm of possibilities and probabilities. Do I think this world is round? Heck, I don't know. I saw a aspect of it in dream time where I was shown where I lived, but where I lived was now underwater, and like where I had come from before, wherever I lived here prior. But the funny thing is that the map, or the earth, the ground that was shown, doesn't even match today's, what they show us is what the map looks like. And this thing that I looked at was square. It was square. And it didn't have ice wall edges. It was square. So it makes us, us all ponder on what this place truly is. Is it truly a realm? Or is it, are we really spinning through space? I wonder about if we're spinning through space at such high speeds with the rotation and the movement. I look up into the skies. Now, let's not confuse how the Mandela effect, or how we are affecting our environment, that we are coming into the gnosis of knowing. But the stars in the sky should change. They should change all the time if we are truly at that, moving at that speed across a galaxy. Then we shouldn't have the same stars in the sky. We shouldn't see the same Little Dipper and Big Dipper. Now, mind you, the Big Dipper and Little Dipper has changed for me. I remember when they poured into one another. They don't do that anymore. Do they do that for you guys anymore? I mean, have you noticed that, significant change? There's changes in our sky, but it has nothing to do with us zipping through the whatever, the universe or multiverse, or at what do they say? Oh yeah, they love those 666s. Then they say we're going 6,600,006, I don't know, 666 something this way, okay? And then the rotation is at a certain, it's at like a a 3-3-3, but then they do like a ecliptic, half the earth and half the earth, and you put them together and it ends up being a 6-6-6. So anyways, I don't know. So that's how I seen it. I seen it as flat and square. Square. It was really weird. And where I lived, when I lived here before, or whatever I was looking at, I had lived there before, and where I had lived is now completely underwater. Okay. Enough of that stuff. So, did anybody have any answers to, if they were president or leading a country, what they would do to bring peace to people? If you believe something's going to happen to you because of something that is said, what would you do, even if you have full self-awareness? Yes, yeah, they do. They've changed for me, but there's, Biker Babe, they're still in the sky though. I mean, they're still there. I would think by now, and even my years of walking this earth, if we're moving at that speed, the stars and the constellations should change. And besides having what was there, a 13th constellation now found, right? That's not the same thing. That's a discovery. That's not that we moved so fast that the animals in the sky changed. They're all still there. All of the different signs and the zodiac or whatever. All those animals and creatures are still in the sky. They wouldn't be there. It would be something different. We would be looking at something different. Okay. I want to touch on this before I drop the big bomb at the end. Sometimes people think that equality, the divine, unique beauty from within, each of us unique and special. There's only one of you. One. That's how amazing you are. And the equality from the Creator's love for each of us. What kind of love is this that we're actually given free will? I mean, really. Out of our free will, we can make mistakes. Okay? We can remember to forget who we are. Or we also have the option to seek and receive. We have the free will to raise ourselves up to be, or go to school and educate to be whatever it is we want to be in life. Okay? But the equality still remains in that each of us have and deserve to be respected by one another, regardless of what we do in the 3D realm for a living, so to speak, or in those kind of regards. Let's not mistake this equality that comes from an unconditional love that is bestowed upon each of us as something that is the great equalizer of a governing body of, let's say, socialism. A beautiful woman brought this to my attention the other day, and I have to say, there's a lot of merit, and there's a lot of where that can be confused in what we're talking about. We are far from talking about socialism. I know we touched on this in the beginning about random acts of kindness. But being an equal being to one another, a spiritual being having a physical life, to broaden and express and stretch and grow is one thing. Being unconditionally loved by the Creator is one and the same. But a man-made governing body of equality of everybody, no matter what it is that you do for society, how much you apply yourself, or taking away I guess it would be kind of a reward system. As 3D beings, even as divine sovereigns, we need to have the feeling that we are growing when we're seeking. We don't want to be stuck. We want to continue to grow. So if we put it in the same parallel as that, you work hard, you go and you get your education, and you understand and you keep up with this ever-changing information. As I know, a lot of the things I learned in college have changed, from the human anatomy to geography to even my humanities and art history. Changed. Mona Lisa doesn't look the same. The Thinker. I think about these classes I took, and I'm like, man, I just learned a bunch of junk. But the fundamental stuff that I learned that went towards the accounting degree, now all of that stuck. And math seems to be a consistent. And we did talk about, I did drop a video about the sacred geometry. And there's merit in sacred geometry. But when we talk about equality, it's equality in each of us in our being. But we still, as beings, need to be motivated. There has to be something that is a driving force. If you're working your tuchus off, okay, and you're picking up the slack for, let's say, 6 other people, and they're all getting paid the same, why are you going to bother? What happens? We lose the motivation. So then everybody starts to slack because there's no incentive. There's no progression. There's no incentive. And as a 3-dimensional, as a spiritual being in a 3D realm, incentive is a motivator. Gleaning and growing motivates us to do better, makes us want to choose to be the highest being that we can be towards one another, to love each other as brothers and sisters, show respect for one another. But this also works when we're talking about going into our professions, the things that we do for a living. Who's going to want to go to become a doctor when I can sit at home and get the same paycheck that doctor's getting, and they're running around saving lives? I'm sorry, guys, on this one, and you may disagree with me on it, but I want somebody who's got my life in their hands. I want them to be paid well and to be taken care of. And it doesn't take away the equality of our life and the meanings of our lives. But I don't want an unmotivated surgeon or doctor to have my life in their hands. And when we think of such things as man-made governments, fascism, socialism, communism, and things of that nature, why do those things fail? They fail because the motivation is not there. So a part of the human condition and the beauty of the human condition is the desire to become better, more fluent, more exercised, more understanding, more fluent in what we learn, so we can then help other people with it, or show other people, teach other people, or bring other people along. Just like as we're going through this awakening process, there's not just different levels of it, so to speak, because we're all equals. Once you'll come to an area where you're going to see everybody, the divinity in everybody. You're going to know it, you're going to see it, you're going to live it, you're going to walk it. But by having such awareness within you, you want to bring that awareness out to other people. because you've gotten to a point in your walk where you're able to share and able to hopefully help lift others up. And then it does like a domino effect. They'll then lift other people up, and then other people, and then other people. So it brings about, which will, and we know, will bring about change in this realm in TikTok time. Once we come out from underneath of frequencies, flicker rates, hypnotic, commercial advertising, they've been beta testing that on us for, forever, on how to sell their products using manipulation, hypnosis, or getting power of suggestion into one another's mind. So we'll buy their product. Once you have this awareness within you, that stuff does not work on you anymore. Just like getting bit by that snake or taking up something that could be deemed as poisonous will no longer harm you because you know better. You know it's in you. It's already in you. You're walking in it. You're in it. It's in you, on you, and all around you. And the same thing goes with this virus. And I bring us back again to, if you were the president and you had complete self-awareness, and the people whom you see nothing but equality and divinity and colorfulness in what we each offer to keep this great country of ours running, we all do our part. What would you do to bring peace so people would stop having this thought come in that they of fear, or to bring that? Me, if I was the president, take Trump out of the way. This is not a political thing. I'm just, remove who it is. I don't care who it is in office. I'm saying if it was us and we're fully aware of what we're able to do here, we're fully conscious, and we know what everybody else is capable of doing, what are you going to do? I personally would give them whatever it is that they feel they need, knowing that it will not hurt them if they feel a vaccine is what is going to veer this thing away. That vaccine will not harm them. It will actually, in their mind, get their mind off of this virus, and they will go on about life. At the same time, people who think a virus, or not a virus, vaccine, sorry, will harm, it will, because they believe it. They feel it, they believe it with their whole heart. And for those people, stay away from them. Don't touch them. I can't see if I was in a position, I would not make it mandatory, because there are just as many people that feel that vaccines are bad and horrible and have had effects that are not good manifest within their lives, within their family members. And at the same token, we've got that ones that think that they're okay and they're fine with it, and they haven't had such anomalies happen. So we would have to make it a voluntary thing. We can't force, we cannot ever use force on everybody, because it won't work. We will be robbing somebody of their unique divinity and expression and what they have faith and what they believe in. We cannot take away the very essence of the power that we each hold within us. So that would be, my school of thought. Now, like I said, I have so much gratitude and so much appreciation for the brave people who stand in the gap to try to show that this is harmless, to remove fear from people, because that's what I see them trying to do, is remove that fear, get it out of the way so people are no longer afraid of the boogeyman. Come on. We were in a war against drugs. That was a phantom, boogeyman. Then, okay, it was a war on terrorism. What? So now we're searching in caves and under rocks, and who can be considered terrorists, right? And now it's more of an invisible boogeyman. It's such a minuscule, microscopic, um, we can't see it, but anybody, and most of us with a fundamental education in science, we know that a bacteria can live and actually can self-replicate. A virus is not alive. They have to have a host. They can't live on surfaces. I don't know how we got so confused with that. But just because I know that doesn't make it fact for everybody. What I learned and my education does not mean that my facts and my education will be true for each and every single one of us. The truths that are within us are what we believe, our faith in it. Remember, guys, you can move mountains. Those who have faith without doubt will say to a mountain, move, get out of the way, and it will be removed. It will be removed. Thank you for the thumbs down. Appreciate it. It's not a live show without at least one or two of those. Let me see. I would ask everyone to pray for peace. Yes. Mickey Mouse operation, that is spot on. That would also be what would be deemed like as a group meditation. You put the topic out there. You put the topic out, just like the groups that went to all those different parks. They put out what they were going to meditate on or pray on. And each would go and do it in their own fashion, because we're each unique. We have our own connection. We have our own way. But all having the same directive for peace. And when we sit in that, marinate in that, and meditate, therefore bringing it into the 3D realm, manifesting in the 3D realm. And I'm telling you, a little bit of research you can find where this, it was about 100, maybe a little more than 100 people got together, and they went to these high crime areas, and they sat in the parks, and they had measurable, I mean, huge drops in crime. And they would do their thing, and then they would move on to another area. And did you know that it actually stayed there for weeks after? The crime would stay and maintain a reduction for weeks after. And then when it would start to do an uptick back, the law enforcement would be like, can you come back? Can you come back? Come back. Because what they didn't quite understand and understand is that they too can do what those people did in that park. Quiet down, focus, and connect in the way that we connect best. That's the difference that we're going to get into, the difference between a guided meditation and one that is that, you know, you put out a topic and each person goes and that's a group meditation. You go off and do your own, getting resolve from the one topic, each doing their own. And the dangers that can ensue from guided meditation and hypnotherapy, which is why flicker rates and things of that nature are used to put our mind into let's see, I've got my paper here to tell you, okay, the beta state of awareness, that's where we really want to try to stay in our waking hours. We want to stay in beta. And beta is the alertness, active thinking, and concentration, okay? Alpha state is light hypnosis. Okay? A lot of times when we're watching a movie or even commercials, they'll get us into an alpha state with flicker rates and subliminals. And then a theta state, actually, as a beyond quantum healer, that's where we like to get people to relax down to in order to clear blocks or heal. But remember, the beyond quantum healer needs to make sure that they, their integrity is of the highest good, and they're not bringing anything else in. The last thing anybody should ever want is repeat business on beyond quantum healing. You want it a one hit wonder, and only come back if you have different questions. Okay. The gamma state is deep, meditative, cohesive focus. We can also get you down into that level in beyond quantum healing. But you can do this for yourself in a group topic meditative state. Therefore, you are now completely in what you would call a trans meditative state. You connected, and therefore bringing forth that peace that you are praying for. Praying and meditating. I often say praying is talking. So the talking would be, okay, everybody, we're going to all meditate on peace. So there's the prayer. And then everybody goes off and puts down their blankets and does their thing in order to get into that theta or that gamma state. And the delta state is asleep, fast asleep. Now, again, I'm going to bring up, we're all dream workers, all of us. And we can become lucid in that state and get, sometimes they're parables, sometimes we're seeing actual events that will come to pass within our life. Sometimes we're being taught things. I remember being taught how to get through windows was really easy, and walls was a little harder. Getting through the doors, I was always trying to grab the doorknob, and I would go right through it because I couldn't touch it, and then to walk through the door. Going through the ceiling and up through the roof was my biggest challenge. So we get taught different things in our, in what we would call sleep. But do you not realize the work that you're doing when you're sleeping? If you're not aware of it, or if you don't remember your dreams, I tell you, really, seriously, you're working. You're doing more than you ever thought. We let our avatar rest, okay? Because our avatar thinks it needs to rest. But what if it really doesn't need to rest? What if it's truly because we need to go so we can do whatever work it is that we are to be doing, or information that we are to be receiving in that state? Even if we don't remember, it's sewn into us, into our heart, into our being, into our mind, into our consciousness. Maybe there was a clause in your contract before you came in that certain information would be dispensed to you at a certain point within your time here. Who knows, right? Do you remember picking your parents before coming in? How much do you remember about yourself before you came here to have such an experience as this? Do you remember volunteering to be here for this time? We are in an amazing time, an absolutely amazing time of revelations that are off the charts of who we each are. Wow, we've been going 80 minutes. Okay, here's the last bomb that I'm going to drop. Like I said, I'm working on a presentation on this about Moses' horns, why he had two. Horns do not actually have to denote evil, you guys. A lot of times horns say kingdoms. So having two horns meaning that he was a ruler over two kingdoms. Could be as simple as that. and why he covered his face, but I'm doing a video on that. Okay. Something to look into and to do your own research on. Always use discernment with whatever I'm giving you guys every warning right now. I'm telling you all the warnings up front. Do your own research. Sometimes the truth can be something hard for us to swallow. It can be something that is not very palatable. It can be actually, a lot of people sometimes will reject the truth and cleave to the fables because it's so hard. But if you look, which this predates the Mount Sinai moment, okay? Look into the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Now, a long time ago, we talked about gospel, or is it a God spell? Little did I know what I will know today when I said that to you guys. It is actually in the Egyptian Book of the Dead, which only like pharaohs and the elite would even get, and they would get it in their burial chambers. A lot of times inside of the tomb, it would be etched on the walls, and of course, not very legible, and it didn't stay very easy to read when they were first etching it. But it was the instructions for them to the afterlife, okay? It is filled with prayers, magic or miracles, and spells, okay? Spell number 125 in the Egyptian Book of the Dead consists of a majority of the 10 Commandments. Please look for yourself. And this could also answer a lot of questions. If we're truly cleaving to Jesus, who rebuked all of that, he called it a curse, then you will see why he did. Remember, he was born and there was a problem and they took him to Egypt. I find that Yeshua HaMashiach, Yeshua the Anointed, learned many things. And when he came back to his homeland, he was found when he was 12 to be arguing with the Sadducees, Pharisees, or the attorneys or lawyers of that time. And he called it a curse. Why would he call it a curse? Because it's a book for the dead, not for the living. And it was called a spell. So, but look into it for yourself. That's why he nailed that to the cross, you guys. And we're a new creation. And if you follow Christ, follow him. Hold on to him. Even if you're drugged by the hem of his garment. If you follow Muhammad, follow Muhammad. Whatever teacher, instead of the book in our own understanding, go into the spiritual realm of your natural habitat, connect, receive, and then share. Because there's nothing like the freedom that we walk in. An understanding and understanding of who we each are and who we are to each other, and how each of us enhance each other's lives. Oh my goodness. There's nothing there. I can't compare it to anything. I can't. So I hope, I say that for last because that's a hard thing, for people to grasp. And I'm also working on Akhenaten, who took Egypt from being a pantheon into a monotheistic, and was chased off and dethroned by his own people, whom came back and took some of the Egyptians and the Hebrew people and got them out of Egypt, being one and the same. Akhenaten being Moses, whom would have all of the understanding of the Egyptian book of the dead, being that he was a pharaoh and they knew of such things. But so would some of the scribes, okay? And so if some followed and he came down the mount and had these listed out, could it have been that they called him out on it and he got angry and threw them to the ground and busted them and went back up the mount to get another set? Only time will tell. But what we're looking for here is freedom, sovereignty, beauty, divinity, loving one another for whom we are, doing good to one another, random acts of kindness, be gentle to each other. We each are unique. We each will have a unique experience. We will each add and enhance to one another's life. We are coming out of that old paradigm of divide and conquer, or dog eat dog, or submit, or I'm going to oppress or shame you. Those things are no longer working. We need to stand. Stand in what you know, stand and grow. Be sovereign, be beautiful, be divine, be everything that you are, everything that I know you are. I just love you guys. I was thinking about opening the phones, but we went too long. Yeah. And remember, you guys, we don't have to be around people that want to shame or pull us down, okay? But always walk away in love. Don't hold any grudges, or don't bring any karmic debt or anything. Don't heavy your heart with anything, negative stuff and anger and things like that. Sometimes we need to let that steam out of the pot. Don't carry things that aren't ours to carry. Let go of them. Because in time, we're all going to know this about ourselves. And we don't want to slam a door and put a bunch of locks on it. We just want to gently shut the door at this time, because you never know what will happen in the near future. And always remember to share what you know and listen so we can grow. Please like, share, and subscribe. Seem to be bleeding off subscribers. I guess whether maybe it's not jiving with people, or maybe they'll come back later. I don't know. But the thumbs up really help. Actually, so do thumbs down. So, but if you do a thumbs down, please let me know what it is that you're not resonating with. Maybe there's somebody I know who may be a really good fit for you to go check out that you may not have heard of yet. Anyways, have yourself a wonderful day, you guys. I love you. Peace.